You may or may not know this, but I'm actually a very intelligent guy. All right, I'm kidding. Well, Africa Code Week begins on Friday. The event is about instilling digital literacy and coding skills that I may or may not possess among the youth. To tell us more about what Africa Code Week is all about, we are joined by Sunil Geness to talk to us about this. So I must say I was reading up almost senselessly about this coding situation because I wanted to impress you and sound clever. So here we go. What is coding for those of us who are not so familiar with it? How does it fit in with this really interconnected world, cyber world that much of our existence actually takes shape in?
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, Thulas. Well, coding is basically the intelligence behind the IT industry per se. So you have laptops which are hardware, but those laptops have to run on some kind of platform. And normally these platforms are coded to enable you to run certain programs which do specific things. And this has led over time to the development of the app world as you've seen it, the development of applications like Facebook and Twitter and others that you see around you. And we all know that the fourth industrial revolution is critical. As we move along, every part of our life is touched by this. So coding is an essential part, and we believe that every African child deserves the right to be exposed to coding and to learn coding.
So what are you doing about it, that right to be exposed to coding?
So we run this program called the Africa Code Week program. It's an SAP-initiated program together with multiple partners across Africa. This year we'll go to 36 countries, from every country from Algeria to Zimbabwe. And in a month, in October, every country will host, according to its own schedule, a week of coding initiatives. These are hundreds of workshops. We empower teachers in this process to ensure that it's sustainable, and the kids come along and go through the MIT Scratch coding program, which is freely available from MIT. And the program is supported by a number of institutions, hundreds of NGOs, and the excitement is rife. Up to date, we've trained 1.8 million children across 35 countries on coding, and that arguably is the largest digital literacy program on the African continent.
So for someone who's sitting at home and saying, where does my life interact with this coding that you guys are talking about? Give us examples of the results of coding that on a day-to-day basis I may not pay attention to it, but actually is the result of the hard work of the people that do coding.
Absolutely. It's everything from entering your home. I mean, in South Africa, we see that we have large security systems. Entering your home using a cell phone to trigger the opening of the gate, or to set up your smart home and ensure that lighting is in place at the right times. The television cameras, switching on of the television cameras, the actual recording device on digital, and then more specifically, some coding applications. A simple thing like a washing machine. It operates on a coded mechanism that allows it to go through the various cycles. Refrigerators and the way that they run. And we'll see as time goes that robotics will take on a much more integral role in the lives of people, to the extent that some people say by 2050 that artificial intelligence in the form of robotics will reach the same intelligence level of humans.
How easy is it to learn the languages of coding, and how many coding languages are there?
There are multiple languages. MIT Scratch is freely available, and therefore we expose it to children from the age of 8 to 12, 13 to 17, 18 to 24. And the sky's the limit in terms of the languages. But how easy it is to learn, it's basically about logic. It's about doing things sequentially and things in parallel. And that is where we expose the children into this type of thinking, into a logical manner.
So you keep mentioning exposing children to it, and of course there are prodigies that are out there that have really set the bar really high. People such as Santiago Gonzalez and Michael Simon, who's now employed by Facebook, I understand. Bringing it back to an African context, South African context, where we do battle with the sciences in terms of our education system, can we say that if Santiago Gonzalez can learn these skills, so can our own children in South Africa?
Absolutely. So let me say this very important thing. The mission and ultimate objective of Africa Code Week is to have coding installed as a curriculum in schools. This is happening in places like Morocco and Cote d'Ivoire already. So the idea would be that as kids are learning English, arithmetic, and other subjects in school, that they'll begin learning coding from a very early age. And the younger they are, the more quicker they are to latch on to these kind of things. And the potential in Africa is huge. I mean, we have the youngest population anywhere in the world, and by 2030 still have the youngest population.
How would that, introducing coding in the way that you are saying, and the take-up of coding by more and more young people, how would it impact on such things as our economy? And this week we have the Jobs Summit coming up. Would it help with solving some of the questions that we face as a society?
This is a good question. So if we are able to get more coders into the marketplace, they're able to code, and they could be anywhere from Koffingwalba to Timbaza to any place in South Africa, put their coded material onto a common platform which anybody across the globe could buy in the cloud. That already is an economic activity. And then some of them, not all of them will be coders. Some will go into the work situation, they'll understand this better, but ultimately the pervasiveness of IT will continue to grow as time continues, and that will make sure that our people are well equipped to take part in the workforce.
So when and where does Africa Code Week take place? How do I take part? Can I just rock up and you will turn me into a tech geek?
Well, Africa Code Week is kicking off on Friday, the 5th. This Friday we'll kick off in Johannesburg. It's running across these 36 countries. You can go to the africacodeweek.org website. There's a calendar telling you each country what is happening when. You can register there, and then you walk into the centers and you pick up the coding language. And hopefully we'll see you write some code for ENCA. Maybe the new website for them, or a mobile application.
Develop code that helps anchors understand difficult topics to discuss. Thank you so much for coming through. Sunil Geness, talking to us there about Africa Code Week, which is taking place a bit later on this week. Well, if you've